Well, the Toy Tractor Times is here with Brian Long, who has won the custom built contest in 1/16 scale at the 2012 St. Louis show, and we just wanted to take a look at also all the great models. And as we look over here, there's a long row of custom precisions that Brian has done in 1/16 scale, and he won the coveted Arch Trophy, which goes to the winners. It's a special thing from the Gateway Mid-America club that puts on this contest. And so, Brian, I guess you'll kind of give us a little bit of a tour of each of these models down the machinery row.
Correct. The first model here is going to be the oddball one, the 4440. Ertl did a great job with this when they made it back. I think it came out in 1998, but I'm not exactly sure on that. But I didn't like the skinny front tires that they had on their 4440, so I went ahead and added the whole front new axle off of 4430 that was salvaged that I bought the front axle off of, and I thought it made it just a little bit better. And I went ahead and added 18.4 R38 dual wheels, and these are actually removable, but I think they're kind of stuck on there. So we can get it. Now they're stuck. But also added another option I had. A lot of 4440s that I grew up around had what John Deere called the power hub option, which was just a heavy-duty casted weight that bolted on to the inner rear wheel, and it just made it for a stronger wheel, and it also gave the added weight to have adding slab weights to it.
Very nice.
And on the back of it, instead of going with a John Deere quick hitch, I went with Lee Manufacturing, made in Lubbock, Texas. I went with a decal. The quick hitch is one of theirs. Just to kind of break it up a little bit, because a lot of tractors do have aftermarket quick hitches on them. So I just wanted something just kind of change of pace, just to stand out.
Well, I guess we'll also take a look at some of the red ones down the row here, which the 4440's main competitor in 1982 was the International 88 series.
Right, this started off as the Ertl 5488 MFWD, and like I said, I'd also grew up around a two-wheel drive 5488. So what I did with this, I started off with a 66 series front axle. They had the front axle, so the next thing I had to do is I custom made two two-wheel drive axle brackets to go into the tractor after I pulled the MFWD brackets off. And then I painted the front axle a semi-gloss black to match the paint. Also even painted the hydraulic turning cylinder. And the front rims on this one are resin casted because on the 88 series, the front rims were a solid rim instead of actually the four-spoke wagon wheels that were common on the 56 and 66 series. On this one, I also added matching dual wheels. That's a big pet peeve of mine, to have matching dual wheels. So actually, I resin casted some rear wheels and added them on there, and they're actually removable to show the inner dual hub.
Very, very nice. Now, also on a precision like this, everything kind of opens up on the hood and everything, doesn't it?
Correct. I know that the two engine access panels also open up, as well as the...
Yeah, it's neat how they say hot in there.
The radiator, this also opens up as well, but it's just kind of hard to get right now.
They get a lot of details in these models today.
Correct, and also the doors open up on them as well. If we can get it, but we'll just move along.
Sure. Well, now I guess the next one down here you have is a 5288 two-wheel drive.
Correct. This is the most recent one that I've done, and I've actually made a couple upgrades and improvement to it. This is actually for a customer who ordered it. And, with the customer he wanted a two-wheel drive one, so I did the same thing. I did the two-wheel drive kit for the front of it, but he also wanted a chrome stack, so I added a large diameter chrome stack for it. It also has the removable dual wheels on it, and the quick hitch on it. It's the same thing as my other ones, but it's painted black with the black International Harvester decals on it. And another big difference you'll see on the front of this one, I added the actual true tri-rib front tires to it, which actually makes it look more like 1980s model tractor.
Sure. Now, there you also had a little extra detail inside the cab up there.
Correct. On this model, it was kind of a joke. Somebody's like, "Hey, you ought to put a CB radio on that," and I said, "Well, you know what? I will put a CB radio on that." So, I made the base out of a wood block, and it's even got the knobs on it, but it's kind of pointless because you can't see them. But the main thing was to have the mic and the cord dangling down.
Very nice.
The only thing I didn't put on there was I didn't put the antenna on there yet because I didn't want it to get broke off and lost during transport.
Sure. Now, the next model was the big tractor introduced in 1976, the 160 horsepower 1586, and then you have the last year, the 1981 model here, Tri-Stripe, that would have been replaced by the 5288.
That's correct. International Harvester, pretty much starting with the 66 series, they would always do what they would say, as a black stripe, just kind of a precursor to that's the end of the run of the series, and that's what I went with here. I went with the actually what they refer to as the Tri-Stripe decal, due to the white, the red, and the black. But to me, it was the best looking of the 86 series. On this one, I went with the stock front tires, but my main focus on this one was with the engine detail. I had to pop off the manifold, the alternator, and the two filters on there, and I detail painted those and assembled that back on there. After I had to strip off the hood. The hood was actually this was originally a white panel, 1066 precision, or excuse me, 1086 precision. And popped it off, stripped all the paint off of it, and then repainted it with Case IH red, and painted the exhaust stack flat black to actually make it look like a rough textured look to it.
Very nice.
And on the rear of it, I actually added the size 15s had a what International called the power rear wheels. And it's actually a heavier duty casted center rear wheel, and these actually came off the Ertl Precision 5488. I masked off the center and then painted the centers red, and then added the dual hubs to both sides. And on the back, I also added a quick hitch just to make it look even better.
Looks very nice. So then our next big red one is the one that came just before the 1586, the big V8 powered 1568.
Correct. This started off as the Ertl Precision 1468. There's the white cab Internationals. When they went to the red cab, there was a lot of big differences in the cab. The main big difference, we'll start from the back, is the rear of the cab is more squared. So what I had to do is I had to strip the cab completely down to bare metal. I had to cut and grind away the rear cab panel so it's actually more squared up. And then I had to scratch build a new glass, and actually the weather stripping that went around that, I had to make that all out of styrene. And another main thing was on the door, I had to fill in the lower door window and make it flush and smooth, as all the International Harvester red cabs didn't have the lower window on them. Of course, it still opens up and everything.
Very nice. And then just the detail that is put into the V8 engine, the International decals and the warning labels.
Correct. It's an International, I think International Harvester 500 diesel engine. Okay. They didn't do too good on farms, but they looked good.
They sure did.
And another thing I had to do was I had to grind the side vent louvers off in the front of the hood. That was the main characteristic to recognize a true black stripe, is it doesn't have to have the side louvers on it.
And then right next door we've got the 1468.
Correct. This was never a production model from International Harvester. They quit making the 1468 in 1974 and started making the 1568. So there never was a true black stripe 1468 in production. But I wanted to build one, just kind of a concept, just to kind of see what one would look like. So I went ahead and just went out with that. Now this one, it's actually 1468 front end from the Ertl Precision and a 1066 rear end from the Ertl Precision. And I had to cut the frame and join the two together in order to get the open station.
That's a cool little tractor.
Thank you. And the ROPS bar is off an Ertl 1456 that I had swapped fenders out on. I thought, well, the WOPS on it would look pretty cool.
So, and then here right next to it is another ROPS tractor, and that's the 1566, which was the 6-cylinder engine.
Correct.
Big tractor in 1976.
I'm real partial to Black Stripes. I mean, to me, they were the best looking international 60 of the 66 series. And on this one, I took the hood off, stripped everything off of it, painted. I had to extend the top of the exhaust stack and paint it flat black so it would actually clear the top of the canopy.
I'm borrowing this for a minute, okay?
Okay. Another item I did, of course, you have to grind off the side vents on the hood, and I added my own. These are my own decals that I made. And another main thing about the Black Stripes, the levers must be black. All the levers were solid black. So I missed it on the 1468, but it was pointed out to me, and I caught it on the 1566. So that's another added detail I got to make on this one.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of little things that, a lot of people say, well, all these tractors look the same, but there's, there's a lot of little characteristics that change from model year to model year.
Right. Another added detail I did on the 15 was I added the hydraulic hoses for the turning cylinder in the front. It's just something that's, well, I'm going to go try to something different. Each model I try to do something different.
Sure.
And also did the custom engine detail painting just to make it all stand out instead of being just all red components inside.
Then I guess we've got another belly fuel tank tractor, which is a 1466 here.
Correct. This actually was an Ertl 1466 from the Classic series, which this was released in 2002, I believe. Again, this is another tractor I had to strip the cab completely down in order to get the correct cab on this thing. Once again, I cut out the rear cab and squared up the post. Had to fill in the lower window, grind off the side louvers, did the custom detail painting. Added, my custom front wheels and the new tires, the hydraulic hoses on the front end, flat black exhaust. It's got 20.8 R38 rears on it. It also has weights on the inside. The wheels are removable, and a quick hitch on the back. And another detail I added with this one. This is the first tractor to have the CB radio in it.
That is just a great little detail to put inside there. And then, can you show us the belly fuel tank there too?
Yes. This one didn't turn out quite like I wanted it, but since it's tucked up underneath there, it still looks pretty good.
Well, that's you don't find many of those out, really in the field. It was kind of a rare option, but it's definitely nice to replicate in a model cover the history of the machines. And then, of course, before the 1466 was the 1456, which actually won the contest here today for one of the good models. And it also has a belly fuel tank and a lot of modifications.
Correct. This model, the 1456, made a huge impact for a tractor only being produced between 1969 and 1971. It was a great sounding engine in the tractor. It was International's largest row crop tractor workhorse at the time, and it really made an impact on the company. And on this one, I added I really wanted to make it look like a 14. More like my goal was to make it look like a red tank, and that's what I had in mind, and that's what I tried to make it look like.
Well, it looks great. Well, thank you for sharing this great long line of tractors, and we just look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.